Hey, Shaka. You're on mute.
All right, how you doing this evening?
I am great. How are you?
Okay, I'm good, good. It's all good.
Okay, so tonight it's a little interesting. We have a new co-host that's going to be joining us, King JX. So here he comes. And we have um, Justice for Diamonds and Anthony checking in. Thank you, sis. Just met her. And we have Dignity Power joining us tonight. So they'll be checking in soon. So, hey, King JX.
Hey Shantae, what's going on, Shaka?
What's up, my brother? My
Man,
brother, my brother.
I'm lit about tonight's show.
Okay,
So I'm lit about tonight's show.
yes, sir.
Who's Facebook user talking about, hey, my people? We are hopping off the call now to join. Thank you, Diamond. Here we come. Here we come. Here we come with Stephanie. There she is. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, everybody. How are you all doing today?
We
We're
are
All
great.
right, how you doing?
Lovely, lovely. I got no complaints, but who want to hear them anyways? Let's see.
Hey, Queen. Uh-oh. Where'd she go?
Can you see me? I'm sorry.
I
Responding
can
to a
see you.
text
We got
message.
you. We got you.
Alrighty.
All right. So I met Stephanie and she was telling me about this powerful organization that she's a member of. Stephanie, if you could send Diamond the link or anyone that you want as your guest, that would be great. But she was telling me about this powerful organization that she's a member of that really supports women's rights behind bars, especially as it pertains to pregnant women. And the story that she told, I've shared my story with, and it may sound unbelievable, but the story that she told had me floored. She said that this woman was in solitary confinement, delivered in solitary confinement. And she sat there for like 8 hours before anyone would come to her rescue to help her with the baby. So while she was in solitary confinement, she literally chewed her umbilical cord to separate it to be able to save her newborn. Do I have that right, Stephanie? Stephanie, can you hear me? You're frozen.
Yes, you have that just about. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Can you hear me?
We hear you fine. We have you.
If my signal is bad, I also have my sister Cortez on the line. If I break up, she can always pick up where I left off. But yes, the story got my attention. I just started following along and working with Dignity Power just last year on Ava's Law. This is my first time actually engaging in legislation and seeing what the work was really about outside of, just standing outside and with your picket fence and walking. That helps as well. But to put in that groundwork, it's a different spectrum. I did not get to meet the young lady personally, but some of my sisters from the organization have. And they spoke with her, just asking her about her experience. And it was so traumatizing and touching that we felt it was something we need to do. It was similar to something we passed before, the Tammy Jackson Act. That was successful. House, Senate, sweep right through. We got it done. We saw this situation happening not that long apart from each other and felt like it was something we need to do. Something needed to be said. It needed to be brought back to the light again because it's insane how it's reoccurring woman after woman, African American woman after another African American woman within the same state. It's disgusting and sickening, but hey, it's reality. And after I spoke with you at the watch party, I was like, that's insane that it's happening in the neighbor state. This is crazy. We need to make some more noise about this. I'm grateful to be here. Got my sisters on with me, so I'm feeling real good here to talk about any and everything you guys want to talk about.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And I don't mean to sound oblivious, but what was you said Tammy Jackson?
Yes. So,
Yes,
can y'all
Tammy.
hear me?
Yeah, Cortez.
All right. So, Stephanie is one of our younger organizers. And let me tell you something. You have no clue what has been opened up by her just meeting you and speaking to you. and you have broken her out of her shell, and I am so grateful for that, right? Because she has a daughter that's been campaigning with us out the womb.
So
So we
before,
don't see this 7, 8 year old literally up in Washington, D.C., giving her receipts of what she's been doing as a Black woman. So Dignity Power started off with Dignity Power for Women and Girls. That was the first bill that was passed in the state of Florida. And that bill was, now hear this, was for women that were incarcerated to have sanitary napkins
Mhm.
and tampons in prison. Okay. That was the first bill. So just imagine we had to tour the prisons and the jails in Florida. They didn't have that. And that was the first bill that was filed. Then Tammy Jackson Act came along. And that was basically a two prong. And as she said, it swept the House, the Senate, and it became law. That was for women not to be shackled while giving birth. Okay. Because I don't know if you all know that's what happens, right? The women are shackled. And so that's pretty inhumane. I don't believe a woman is getting ready to try to run giving birth by
Right.
no means. Okay. So that was successful. Here's the kicker: in most laws, you all know, it may not be teeth, right? So even though it's happening, there's no real consequence and repercussion if the law is not followed. Correct?
Correct.
So,
right,
how do we follow the women in receiving their maxi pads and their tampons and things like that? We're not on the inside, right? And then they ain't trying to let us on the inside either. Now, one thing I can say in our state, that any elected official can appear at a prison or a jail and walk in, and there's nothing anybody can do. But it's not that many legislators in the state of Florida that are fighting for prison reform. And the one person that was there, he's no longer there anymore in office. So when you think that you got somebody who can help you, then it's really not, because we're not on the inside anymore for those of us that have been on the inside, right?
right.
Yeah.
So we ain't too fond of going back in either, unless it's to empower, train, teach, prepare them to come back out. But as we know, COVID-19 stopped all that too, right? Shut it
Right.
down. So from the time that I got released in Missouri, the programs that the prisons had then, and we talking about 20 years ago, they don't even have now, right? So you're literally sitting there as an inmate, basically doing nothing. So that's a whole nother dynamic of this system that needs to be abolished. So the Tammy Jackson Act, we got that done, but guess what happened? A baby died on the inside even before Ava's Law. So here we got, how did this woman deliver her baby in prison? Like, hello. So we had to call our state legislators, Jason Pizzo, to be the person, because he fought for us all the way along, but he plays both sides of the coin because that's what all the politicians do. And so this happened in Broward County Sheriff's Department. Why did this lady have a baby in prison? There's an act already in space and in place to say that the Tammy Jackson Act says that we don't do this.
Oh, wait. So slow down, slow down, slow down. Because you got to remember, all of us aren't informed. And that's why I said, what's the Tammy Jackson Act? So
So
you're
the Tammy
saying that
Jackson
the Tammy
Act that a
Jackson Act
woman, yes,
can't
is not
deliver
supposed to
in
give birth
prison.
in jail, in prison, not supposed to.
So Ava shouldn't have been in jail, incarcerated, giving birth
Period.
at all.
Period. Because we got a law in place.
Damn.
So y'all see about the teeth?
Yeah.
We can write these laws. They can pass them laws. But where's the teeth? Where are the consequences and repercussions?
So the Tammy, okay, so being that you guys did put a law in place, and there is a law in place, and then to see these things still happen, you wonder and you say, well, who's in charge? Who's instructing or making sure these laws are being followed? Now, is that where we stand with this?
Right. So Ava's Law is the law that now since y'all couldn't follow Tammy Jackson at all whatsoever. So Ava's Law comes after a mother goes into jail in Alachua County, Florida, who, when arrested, was in labor. Okay, had just left the emergency room in the driveway of her house. They come up and get her on a violation of leaving the county to go visit her mother prior to her delivery. So they come and get her. She is in active labor and she goes into jail and screams and hollers all night. And they ignore her and they say there's nothing wrong with her. And she delivers her baby right there in the jail cell. They take them to the hospital via ambulance. The baby dies. They sends the mother on her way as if nothing happened. And the baby's name is Ava, hence the name of the law. So
Wait,
yes, ma'am.
wait. What's the umbilical cord story though? Because Stephanie said that she was in someone was in solitary confinement
Yes.
and they had to chew with their mouth, physically
Yes.
chew the umbilical cord.
Yes. To save her baby. Yes, ma'am.
Is this Ava as well, or was
This is
Tammy?
Ava. That was Tammy. Ava was in there, delivered the baby. They came in, took them too.
So Tammy's law got passed because she chewed through her umbilical cord.
Yes.
And
Yes.
even with it being that severe, they still haven't been
There's no teeth. Like there's
enforcing
no
this
consequence and
legislation.
repercussion. Right. And to further talk, Tammy has passed away since. She's passed away since, but we do have a member of the organization that keeps in contact with her family.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big loss, right? You know, you have this situation, this law piece, and now she's not even alive enough to assist, with the baby. Like it's so heart-wrenching, y'all. Like it's just crazy. So now we got Ava's Law, and that's another one of our sisters that's joining on right now. So now you got Ava's Law that we haven't been successful in passing. It goes through the House, successful, but can't get through to the Senate to get it to go all the way through. So that's where we are, getting ready to start legislation again this cycle for Ava's Law again.
Wow. Whew.
And that's why Stephanie was so intrigued about your story.
Yeah.
Right? Like she was just like, oh, we got a story. And so I believe the sharing of the stories are so important. Right. And then when these cases come about, you get your celebrity attorneys that show up for the moment.
We ain't gonna talk about NAN and organizations like that. They
Okay.
will take my case, but I ain't gonna
Yeah.
say anything.
All these celebrity folks that come, but we're the people that are actually doing the fighting.
Salute to Brenda Coles, the only woman with NAN that does some work.
Shout it out. Shout it out.
What's not our target topic today?
This is our target topic. We are talking about women giving birth. Well, we're talking about Ava's Law.
That's right. That's what we're on. We're not on anything outside that.
This is a conversation, and welcome to it, co-host.
Yeah, how
this
you
is
doing,
Jay's
ladies?
first time, and this is how we usually interact with each other.
I love it.
Cool.
I love it. I love it. So
we're gonna leave
Stephanie,
what NAB is.
Not NAB, NAN, which is Al Sharpton's agency. She said we are not going to talk about these agencies who only come out when the cameras come out. And I said, shout out to NAN, who said they were going to take my case.
Okay.
Salute to Brenda Coles, the only woman with Al Sharpton's agency who does go out there and fight for the justice of women as the agency or organization is designed, with or without the cameras rolling.
Right. Okay.
and these are the facts that are going on. It's like your own people using you for their come up, right? When we really need the help. Like it's what happened to you should have never happened to you, right? What happened to Tammy Jackson should have never happened to Tammy Jackson. What happened to Ava's mother should have never happened to her. Like, we're gonna fight. But when you think about, like, I'm I'm going back to Stephanie, our young activist organizer that has been doing this. How old is the baby? Even before Lauren was born, correct?
She will be 3 in December. I've been doing
Oh,
it
wow.
since I was pregnant. I want to say I started actively working in activism about May of 2019. Just being in the presence of phenomenal women, seeing the work that they do, just still being in awe. And now I'm trying to hit the ground running, doing what I need to do, connecting these dots, making it not just, oh, this happened in the past, but this is still happening to women now, because I am becoming older and there are women my age that are incarcerated that are dealing with the same things that you went through, that Tammy went through, that the mother of Ava went through. It's insane. But hey, somebody's got to tell a story, and I'm here for all my sisters to make sure they tell the story.
And so that's our legislation moving forward. One of the pieces, we try to move at least 5 or 6 pieces every legislative session. Ava's law is always number one because the intersection of it, and I really don't like that word, but I'm going to use it. We're talking about repo justice, we're talking about the carceral system. Um, we're talking about just all the things, women. And it should we should see faces of all women, right? Because men cannot carry a baby unto term and push it out, but women can. So why is it always Black women in spaces or other minority women? Like, where are our counterparts that have a vagina, uterus, tubes, eggs, ovaries, just like we do? Like, it's always a challenge. When it comes to women's issues, Black women gonna show up regardless.
Yeah.
Period. That's just how we are as a people. But when Black women have issues, we the only ones at the table. And it is so disheartening. I believe there has been a move for the support of our Black men, but y'all got so much going on against y'all. You see what I'm saying? That sometimes it's a little challenging for even Black men to step over in our realm to support and assist, because we have been such a support for Black men that when the chips fall on us both, who can come. And so that leads us into the Diamonds Ford and Anthony Gant campaign. And we have Diamonds Ford here. This is a campaign for Melissa Nelson, the state attorney, to drop the charges against Diamonds Ford and Anthony Gant in Duval County for a no-knock warrant. So police showed up, no-knock warrant. They registered. They got their ammo. Nobody introduced themselves as the cop. Diamonds Ford did what any person in their right mind would do, right? Protect their house.
Yeah.
Florida is a stand your ground state. So you coming up in here, you ain't telling me who you are. I'm calling the police to let them know there's an intruder. So guess what I'm doing? I'm going to protect my house and I'm going to disarm my fire.
And this is something that, again, like you said, is one thing after another. And then, we have those like yourself and a lot of you on the line that step up and start doing things, or what as you said earlier, these laws can be changed. We can work to change these laws. So what do you think people do, for those that's listening now? What would you recommend others to do that have laws or things that they want to change in their area? Like, where do they start?
Well, first of all, they start by voting.
Amen.
Because the people that are signing off on these laws, not signing off on these laws, making decisions about these laws are elected officials. And so that's where you have to start. And I speak with my heart to my Black people. I know so many of my Black people do not vote because they feel their vote doesn't count. But let me tell you something. When you do not vote, that vote does count as well.
Okay. Okay. So they have to get out. We recommend getting out, voting. Voting is definitely the first process. Because again, like, we have these things happening all over. And it's every day someone is dealing with this and that haven't told their story. Every day is someone that's dealing with this and it's being swept under the rug. And every day that comes along someone that's ready and willing to fight and stand for these matters. But where do we start? how do we get this going, and what's the process? I can't think that would get a lot of people kind of standing still.
Exactly. So voting is a piece of it, right? Because we also know that people don't have a right to vote. State of Florida, we passed a whole law.
But you know what? Let me throw this in there too. Let me throw this one campus wrench system, because we talk about felons and people with felonies not having the right to vote, and that ends up being a big thing. But a piece of legislation that's always getting missed in us advocating for it to be passed is with the Census Bureau counting inmates. So you can count an inmate with your redlining and rezoning and redistricting so that they can be in your area. So if you have a prison that has a population of 2,000 and it falls in your area, those inmates are actually counted as citizens towards your vote, but they can't vote because they're incarcerated. You get money for them, everything else, but they can't vote. Their vote doesn't count. When they get released, they can't vote. Well, that's a myth, but many can't vote, some can. But the whole point is they get counted in the numbers. So for us who are free in society, if we're not voting and we're in that area, then we end up being a part of the problem more than a part of the solution.
And that's what the challenge is.
I just want to throw the monkey wrench into the whole system.
Yeah. So I'm a multi-pronged type of an individual. I believe in using all of your avenues. Social media is the biggest blow up ever. It takes nothing, and Diamonds for a Campaign does it, to go on social media and drop a video, do a live, send out information. Somebody's going to see it. Somebody's going to pick it up. Somebody's going to know your struggle. Someone's going to reach out to you, because a lot of these stories are unheard of, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, know your elected officials if you elected them or you didn't elect them.
That's right.
Because you can still hold them accountable because they're in office.
Yeah.
So just because you don't have a right to vote doesn't mean that you don't have a sphere of influence that will vote your rights. Does that make sense?
It does. And these are things they
so,
have to know.
Getting into those offices of your elected officials,
those city council meeting, county commissioner meeting, you can, as a citizen, you have the right to go to your capital, to go into the state. Don't go in if you got warrants now, but be smart. But you have the right to go down to the Capitol and say, I want to be a part of this meeting, this hearing. I want to sit while y'all, like, you have the right. We put them in office. They are our employees. We're not their employees. They're our employees. The Capitol sits on land that's our land as taxpayers.
And let's even go, let's take that. We got to start understanding what's really going on. It's all stolen land. You just need to find out which indigenous tribe was there, and make sure, as activists, organizers, whoever, whenever you open your mouth, make that be your first declaration.
That's right.
We're on stolen land. This belongs to whichever tribe it was, because we got to give these people back the foolishness that they're trying to push up on us.
Yeah.
Let them know it's stolen land. And then it's kind of a different type of a conversation, because now they know, they realize they're not talking to anybody in desperation. And that's another thing that I will put on the table. I don't care what you did, when you did it, how you did it, and who you did it to. Don't ever allow people to make you feel desperate about your situation. Not at all. Nobody would ever know if I didn't tell my story. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, hat, and plaque. Been to prison. Was running with people on America's Most Wanted. And it was by God's grace and mercy that I am here. We don't have to look like what we've been through. You beat a Fed charge, you get a state years, and then the state come back in and say, no, you ain't gonna do all that time. You're gonna only do 1 year, and the county jail holds you another 4 months over your year. Like, it's serious out here, but we ain't gotta look like it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? We got the Diamonds for on here that is facing life in prison for somebody coming to her door that wasn't invited.
And that's what
So,
I want. Can we?
real
Can
quick,
we?
Shout King J, do y'all want to hear Diamond's story? What
That's
where
what I
y'all
was
at?
going to ask. I was going to say we 26 minutes in. If we could hear from Miss Ford or hear from some of your other guests that's here, that would be awesome.
Go right ahead.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
Hey,
Hi.
Diamond.
All right.
So of course, a lot of people don't know about my story, and it is honestly a surprise when I do find out. Like people actually read, people are actually looking this stuff up. I'm not the only person that has happened to. Of course, 2 years ago, September 28th, 8 a.m. in the morning, I hear glass breaking. That's what I wake up to. My first thought, protect my home. Of course, you hear the 911 call. You hear that I'm trying to call for help. You hear that I'm telling them, like, listen, at this point, we're about to die. Because in my mind, at that time, I'm looking at the 911 call. In my mind at that time, I'm like, I don't feel like you're comprehending. Why are you not listening? When I call, you automatically know the address, you know the phone number. Like, why are you not comprehending? So in the 911 call, you do hear me say, like, we're about to die. Of course, once they finally announce themselves, I comply. Like, okay, cool. The police here. I'm saved. I'm good. No, I'm not saved. I'm now arrested. Anthony Gann is now arrested, and we are both taken to jail. Once I found out that I did hit an officer, I don't even know how to explain that. I honestly just felt like, okay, the world is now over. I accidentally shot somebody, so now they're gonna pin me for it, all because I was protecting my home.
So I think I kind of follow you. You're in your home. You hear a knock at the door.
No.
I don't want to make sure we all follow you. You're in your home. You hear a knock at the door. So I think I kind of lost you there. And so then you protect yourself. So what kind of happened in between? Once you hear the knock at the door.
I never said anything about knocking at a door.
I mean,
I was woken up to glass breaking in my home.
Okay, glass breaking. Okay.
Right. So once the glass is now broken, I am now waking up. If anybody else knows anybody else that takes a little moment to wake up, if you're waking up out of your sleep at 8 a.m. in the morning, you just went to sleep at 4 a.m., you're not waking up knowing what's going on. You're hearing glass breaking. You're hearing commotion going on. You're hearing loud bangs. And what I found out was a distraction device is what it's called. Excuse me. I'm hearing distraction devices. At this moment now, I am jumping over the bed. I am waking up Anthony. We are reaching for the gun. We are, at this point, I have now shot. At this point, listen, there has been a lot taught to me when I go to gun classes, but to reload was never one of them. Once I shot my gun that I just received on Thursday and shot on Monday, it only has 6 bullets in it. We originally got the gun for me because of the simple fact that I travel a lot at night coming back and forth from work. So I need something to protect myself while I'm by myself.
Okay.
Once I use my gun, I'm not exactly sure how we even get a phone, but we had a phone. We jumped in the bathroom tub. We felt like that was the safest place in the house. Once we do that, I now call 911.
So we're not frozen. We're just all stunned. No. we just all froze. Like,
no, you're fine. I'm still in disbelief at every time I have to tell my own story. Like, I'm really going through this.
And you're facing life right now.
I am facing life without parole. They feel like I should have known it was an officer outside. They said that they did announce themselves, where I honestly can't say when did you do that, other than when you announced yourself while I was on the phone with 911. Once we do come outside and, we do, surrender or whatever you want to call it. Once we come outside, they beat Anthony. They beat him. They beat the dog mess out of him. Why? Because they thought he shot. They thought he shot. Once we are taken downtown, we are in here for questioning. At that time, I've never been downtown for questioning. I don't do nothing within the law that needs for me to understand what's going on downtown for me to be questioned.
Right.
So once we are questioned downtown, of course, the guy at the time is like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but, explain what happened to me. And now that I know that, you played in my face. You know exactly what was going on. Y'all had been on this case for, I guess, from my understanding, 6 months, and before you guys did a no-knock warrant at my home. You know exactly what was going on. So once they did interrogate both of us, they sent us both to jail, and then the next following day that's when I found out. Hey, I was just coming, to let you know that we are going to charge you with attempted murder. Da, da, da. He made it seem like it was okay. Like that wasn't going to be something that was going to change my life forever. How do I explain this to my daughter? At the time was 11. A child that is never without us. And for those who know. It's hard to continue always telling my story, but it gets easier knowing that I have people around me to uplift me and support me throughout this entire case. I'm not the only one going through this. Anthony Gann is also going through this too.
General Shaka, you got any input on this particular story? As a Panther, as a revolutionary.
Well, where did this happen at? Was it in Atlanta as well?
No, it was in Jacksonville, Florida.
So
Okay.
quickly, Shaka, this organization is Florida based.
Okay.
Yes.
And Anthony Gann, where is he? Is he from Florida too?
Yes, we are both born and raised from Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay. Because I have different methods for dealing with situations, such as when things appear to not be resolved. My methods up here in DC, our organization, our movement, our methods have changed. Besides the waiting on the Lord and all of this type of stuff, when we've been begging and pleading, and we've been on our knees grappling and crawling for some type of justice, protesting, wearing our shoes and boots, and when you make enough noise, and penetrate the walls of evil, on all levels, because we actually think that we don't need a physical approach to things as well. We can do all the legislation, we can go lobby and sit in Congress all day. All that's wonderful. And I'm not, and I've never voted, but when it comes to certain councilmen and people that's much more on the inside than the hierarchy, or somebody that's running independent, that we know they're certified, then, I may consider putting the ballot in. But, for the most part, we all know that, if you're not plugged into in these particular circles, it's just a whole bunch of rhetoric, a whole bunch of paperwork, a whole bunch of typing, a whole bunch of printing out, a whole bunch of bullshit. So, we need to provide protection, and we need to, we need to provide protection, as well as being able to have people on all levels. Just like you sisters that lobby, y'all are very, very gifted and professional, and and experienced with a lot of things, and y'all have a particular lane that your expertise is divinely needed for certain areas. But talking to someone that had 30 years, that nearly done half of that was over sentenced, misrepresented, had both my legs broken in prison by correctional officers, been stabbed 4 times, and been shot 3 times. So I know the ramifications of what distrust and heartache and pain is, and being told certain things. Now she's facing life, and they're going to try to nail her to the cross. Plain and simple. She's going to get judicially crucified, if not the type of physical presence and support, along with a non-compromising legal team, because we at this point in this era and time where lives, we have to be willing to sacrifice our lives, if we could just save, because personally, I would sacrifice my life for that one sister because I know that she will be a flamethrower and be another voice. And hopefully I could, my energy will come back and work through some other people. If we don't get on that and, on that level, and it's up to these brothers, the brothers mainly, you sisters have done enough. Y'all have nurtured, y'all have taken care of so many people through so many different epidemics and holocausts, crack holocausts, and so many other things. Y'all have stood the test of time. Now it's time for y'all to sit back and be the somewhat not give the orders, but to push the agendas. Because y'all, it's I could never out type any of y'all. I wouldn't try to, go on no Senate floor or none of that. Not unarmed anyway. But um, you know,
I kind of get
but
where soccer's going with that. I get where you're going with that.
because I mean, I'm listening to these stories and you know, this type of shit makes your blood pressure go up. It makes you have restless nights. It makes you try to brainstorm, and then you try to find brothers that have, most of the brothers have in my era, white supremacy has taken the bite out of a lot of them, where they're more interested. While this sister's going to trial, they would rather watch, football or a Tyler Perry shitcom, you know, opposed to getting out here and getting down and getting busy because, this type of work, you know, sleep is a luxury. 8 hours of sleep is like going to the Bahamas. For me, it is, because my compassion and level of commitment to my people as a whole, because we are, I'm looking at y'all. Y'all are more powerful, y'all more committed, y'all more greater, y'all more stronger, y'all more honest, y'all are more loyal than anybody that you will ever see on any type of national media circuit, because they try to dim the morale and moral compass of the voiceless people. So we have to, you all are the voice for the voiceless. You all are the warriors for the have-nots that don't have that ability, but have the experience and have had the trauma and the tragedy of going through this tyrannistic system that we're under. And we keep voting for, how long have we been voting Democrat? Since, for the last 60 years, we've gotten nowhere. We need, one of y'all need to go independent, start at the council, get some national support, not just in your hood, on a national level, actually be heard and be fearless. Because this is, we'll never talk our way to freedom.
Yeah.
We will never type our way, and at some point, you know, um, even, and not to get off the subject, even with the Kanye West and Kyrie Irving, if you look at them, they could have just went on with their lives and shut up and got along with they go along, get along, gang, and just rode off in the sunset and been selfish. But they're willing to die, stand up, and lose everything for people that they don't even know. But you see the type of support that they've given. So
Right.
we have to do that for this system, for this
Yeah.
system, for this system. We got to get out here because, I do a podcast, it's live and uncensored. I'm a professional cusser. My mother was a cusser. My father was a cusser, you know, and I speak the language. I speak the language to the people that can understand that language, the people that are hurting the most.
Yeah.
You know, you never heard anybody in the hood say, darn it, have you seen my EBT card? You hear people say, where my goddamn food stamp card is?
That's right. Hey, we at 41 minutes in. Shantae, you got anything you want to say?
Definitely. More than what I want to say, what I want to ask of you two, General Shaka Sankofa and King JX. So I'd like to ask y'all a question, and then I want to give time for Diamond Ford to
Okay.
be heard, because she hasn't been heard for real. Like, she shared her story.
Yes.
And after I ask this question of you, I'd love for her to share a little more.
Okay.
So do you mind introducing yourselves as far as who you are to the movement, who you are to the community, who you
Okay.
are to being able to assist this woman with some kind of support and aid? Because my show, this platform isn't just, I had this conversation with someone earlier. If you're looking for a Hallmark feel-good story, you better go to the Hallmark Channel or Lifetime, but this ain't that.
That's right.
I want to be able to make sure that the next 10 people coming behind have a solution to their situation. I want to make sure that the next Diamond for the next person, what does the stand your ground law really say? What does it what does it mean to stand your ground? And how can we, because this ain't the first time that it's happened to a brown or black person, where when they actually followed the law, they were faced on the other side of the law. So before y'all go into that, it looks as if it's almost time for a commercial break. Lexi Gaines has joined us. Shaka, I want you to also answer that question as well, of what kind of assistance can you provide based off of your network to this sister who's out here in this struggle fighting for her life. Because it's one thing for me to say, I'm looking for my kid. It's another thing every day to wake up and fight for your life.
That's right.
Because if she goes to prison, that's her daughter's family. And this is meant to take out her whole lineage.
Absolutely. I think we should jump right in.
Hold that thought. We about to jump into a commercial break. All right, we are back.
Wow.
Commercial break. Yeah, that was our first commercial, not mine. I want to be so protective of this show. This is our show, Shaka King JX. Now, what can we do for Queen Diamond Ford?
So let's jump right back into it. Myself, I'm a former member of the New Black Panther Party. I was a national commander of the New Black Panther Party. I'm the general and co-founder of Panthers Movement. So I've been boots on the ground. I know what it's like to be with those families that's going with these situations. We're normally pretty much the go-to people that in y'all situations that they come to assist you with standing, to kind of show you the right directions, when to talk, when not to talk, when to hold, when to fold, the people that you need to contact, the people that you need to be talking to, also holding them accountable for their laws and things like that. So it's a lot can be done. And it's just going the right directions. Most importantly, with our situation, a lot of times that the people that these things happen to are the ones that don't want to talk. So it's one thing to stand with someone, but it's another thing for them to really be willing to stand for themselves and talk for themselves and fight for themselves as others like ourselves, that like myself and General Shaka, that really get out here and put boots on the ground, that get suited and booted, cock locked and loaded, you know what I'm saying, with a strong black fist, and really stand for us as black people and vanguard for our people. That's what we do. That's what we love to do. But we look to do that. And like he said, everybody have a job. General Shaka said earlier that everybody have a job. He can't type like that, but he can make sure that it's known that we mean business, and that, you know, we die for what we stand for. So we're always open, and I'm always open to work with, fight with, and you know, as a nation, as a nation leader, you know, I'm here to give my service as a vanguard to the people. So there's a lot can be done. It's just about, you know, always willing to do the work and be that voice. You know, it's one thing to, and a lot of times when the media get involved, a lot of time when it gets on the main platform, a lot of the victims just, they get quiet, you know, and it puts us in a situation. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. But I say Black Power, Black Love, Queen, and we are here for you. If anything that I can do on my behalf, please get that information over. You can find me on Facebook at King JX. You can always find me. So yeah, not hard to find. We're always here every Wednesday night at 9:00.
And let me say this real quick. There was a note from our engineer tonight who said that he wants to see this as a part 2 next week. I don't know when our engineer turned into our producer, but it is a conversation that we can have.
Because we got a lot of people that we didn't get on. We got other people coming on, and I like it. I like it. I love it. I think that's a great idea.
You have the number one show that I've known the engineer for 30 years, so we'll see him in the back office cussing at me. But if I said it out loud, you know, I'd be controversial. So go ahead, Shaka.
Go ahead, General Shaka.
Well, I created the Street Law Soldiers, Brother Harris Abdul, may he rise in power, nearly 20 years ago, after working several years in the Division of Youth Rehabilitation Services. I've worked in halfway houses, all types of shelter houses, group homes, treatment centers. I'm a certified addictions counselor. And what we do is, you know, we're flamethrowers. You know, if you look on my Facebook page, it's called Live and Uncensored. And there's no holds barred. I've been kicked off of so many social media platforms, and been denied certain access to things based on what I stand on, which I'm not compromising or I'm not changing. You know, but I always remain stand fast, and I've never been the type of person that I have an ego or image, because we have a situation here where a sister who is a whistleblower, a lot of people gonna fall behind her. You'll probably find out about it if she lives through it. And so I had to contact King J. King J plugged me into some other sources, because we're in Washington, D.C. So, and by me working for all black security company, a guy I went to school with, you know, we have to find a way to, because sometimes I need security, you know, but nevertheless, we have to, you know, network and try to make something happen.
That's
But
right.
some suggestions to the sister, you know, always call somebody like once every hour. It doesn't matter who it is, you know, don't ever erase any text, any text. You know, these are some of the things that take place, because this sister that I'm telling you about, this whistleblower, they've already ran her son over in the car, and he was in a coma for 3 months, and then they put something in her car that almost gave her like 2 faces, and she was in the hospital, you know, where the swelling, she couldn't see or breathe, you know, and these are type of things that happen when you are penetrating the walls of evil. It's just not you do a podcast and then, you know, you wave some flags around and it's all okay and then you win. They don't play like that. You know, you have to play and think like the devils that you're dealing with. And so call somebody every hour, network with some people, because when they see that you're plugged in, if they see some calls from Florida to Washington, D.C., to Atlanta, to Milwaukee, to different parts of, they know that that's going to be, they're going to have to use kid gloves to deal with you, because they know that, they've been put on notice nationwide. And a lot of people don't do that. They just run and try to get paid off of podcasts and get some change. And then they won't touch you, but they'll do something to one of your cousins, or, is a sibling, and end up having a massive heart attack and all this type of stuff. Talk to somebody every hour, whether you're bugging them or not. You can always call up here, because we need to hear you, so we know that everything's straight. So the response can be on point. Just the response can be on point. Another thing, do not share, be very, very careful who you share anything with. It can be family members, relatives, because the way that things are going now for that bag, you'd be surprised who will turn you over. Yeah. So it's very, very imperative, because your situation is our situation now. So we're going to have to respond accordingly.
That's
and
right.
to let you know that you're not alone in this. You're not alone. And I get sick of these sisters being, jailed and, taken advantage of, and, and then people on social media have these side remarks that they would never dream about saying to you face to face or dealing with you. So you just some simple instructions, and stay under the radar. You got sisters on this line now, and brothers that you can just call, whether you bugging them or not. It's better to bug somebody breathing.
That's right. So, Miss Ford, what we can do, I think it's a great idea. Shantae, we're gonna get it closed out. We're running out of time. Shantae, if we can bring these people back on again, if you can connect with our host, Miss Shantae, we can connect. Let's bring you guys back on next week. Let's jump back right into Miss Ford's story. Let's get this promoted. Let's get this out here. And let's see if we can jump into Miss Ford's story being heard, and see if we can get some attorneys and some outreach to some people that can step up and assist us and go forward. And if we have to form an assembly, let's put boots on the ground.
Absolutely. Whatever we need to do to support her and keep her out of prison.
And give her my number. Give them all my number.
We can make sure. We can't promise that we can keep, but we can promise you we can help make sure that you are given a clear, honest fight, and that we bring attention to this nationally.
Well, we can't say, oh, we're gonna keep you out of prison, but we can't back down from it either. We can say we do whatever it takes to keep her out of prison.
Absolutely, we're gonna do all we can do. That's right.
Hold on. Even when we take a pause, it's giving them power. It's showing that we have some kind of fear, some kind of doubt, some kind of it's giving them too much power. We can say that we're gonna use all the resources that we have collectively combined to put behind you to do whatever we can to keep you out of prison. If something falls short, hopefully some other resource will pick up by then, and you'll be able to go the full way. But we're gonna do whatever we can do on our end to support you and stand with your 11-year-old baby and your significant other for getting his story out there, because they got to talk about the beating of our Black men too, when they're trying to stand up for us Black women too. We can't lose that story too, because I respect, Shaka, I love you. King J, I love you. And
we love you too, Shantae.
I know that both of y'all have my back. And if something happened, I know guns will be blazing, and I know people will be there to support me. And I expect and respect and hold y'all to account to do it for the next queen and king. Because we can't, this is how they divide our families. This is how they divide us. This is how they divide our communities. This is how our children end up in the system. And then in the system, this is how we end up with generations lost because they want to separate us and stop us from standing together. So absolutely, we're going to do a 2-part. And if y'all could hold the line, it's about to, in a minute, the engineer is going to key up a few more things. And if y'all could just hold the line so that we can talk for about 10 minutes afterwards to have a conversation about what next week will look like, that would be great.
Okay.
Most definitely.
So don't hit exit.
And I definitely appreciate everything. I really
Stay
do.
in. Everybody stay in. Everybody stay in. I like everybody looking bright tonight. It's late, but everybody's still looking great.
I got homework due by 11:30, so y'all better go ahead.
Hello.
Because I'm in medical school.
I feel you. So as of right now, I am in cosmetology school. We only got a month and a half left. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to finish. But trust me, I feel you. I'm in a bonnet, so y'all already know how to do it right now.
I was gonna say, Diamond, you gonna fry it eye and whip to the side these edges of mine. Girl, I had a mohawk. I'm coming. Come on, y'all. Black girl magic. And we salute our kings who support us. And thank you for laughing, because I know it must be hard during this time to even have a moment to laugh.
And most definitely, we want to thank you all for this opportunity as an organization, Dignity Power, Fed Fam for Life. We do this work unapologetically.
How do our viewers find you?
Diamonds, give the campaign.
You can go to Justice. You guys can go to Justice for Diamonds with an S at the end, and Anthony on Facebook and also on Instagram. I am over both pages. So when you are writing those pages, you are writing me directly. If I ever have somebody else to write you, it's because I have a lot on my hands at that moment. But yes, I do my best that I can in this activist work, in this campaign leadership to, do the best that I can to, fight for our lives.
All right.
Thank you, sis.
And Sister Stephanie, how do they find you? How do they find you?
I don't have any order. I always accept friend requests on my personal page. It's my screen name. It's my legal name, Stephanie Abernathy. But I do the work for Dignity, Power, and Fed Fam for Life. Okay. You can find them on all platforms on such names: Dignity Power, not Dignity and Power, because that is a separate organization. We are just Dignity and Dignity Power. No and.
Okay, and at the top of our 60 seconds, where we find you, Miss Lewis?
You can find me at dignitypower.org, Fed Fam for Life, Advocate Cortez Maria Lewis. I am who I am in real life. Cortez Maria Lewis, all social media platforms.
All right.
Good night, y'all. Stay up.
Anaya.
Everybody just hang on. Y'all just hang tight.